All right, so welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Finding Your Way with Lori and Tonya. We are super excited that you're here. If you have just found us, welcome. We truly believe wholeheartedly that you have found us for a reason. And if you are a repeat listener, welcome back. We really appreciate you being with us, and we hope that you will share this episode if it resonates with people you know and love. So, last episode we talked about a little formula. E plus R equals O. And we talked about how we react and respond, right? So prior to the work, everything out of me when an event happened was a reaction. And now with the work, a lot more happens that is a response than a reaction. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more and talk about not just how do you respond and not react, but what it takes to get there.
Yeah. And I remember trying to teach myself how to do this. And I remember reacting to things and then not catching myself in the moment at all, but the next day going, I totally overreacted to that. I'm not making good choices when it comes to how I am responding to things. And so I'd say at the very beginning, it really was noticing it, even though my noticing it maybe might not be immediate, it was more reflecting, a little bit of reflection on usually something didn't go right or I didn't like the outcome. And then me going back and retracing my steps and finding, oh, well, of course not. Look at how you overreacted to that and got angry or completely flew off the handle at that. And no wonder you got to that outcome that you didn't want. So initially for me, it really was trying to retrain myself to catch myself a little bit quicker. So even if I was still reacting, which I still do to this day, but even though I was reacting impulsively, it was noticing it a little bit faster so that I could turn it around faster.
Right. Well, and I think too, to say that is a lot of times I wouldn't realize I had reacted until I had that yucky feeling of reacting, mm-hmm. Right? And so sometimes my brain wasn't necessarily thinking about the reaction, it was the feeling. And I thought, oh, why do I feel so bad? Oh, I should have handled that differently. So Sometimes for me, it was recognizing it with the feeling versus recognizing it with my brain and how I handled a certain situation. It took me feeling that yucky feeling to go, okay, what's going on? And then the more we did it, and now listen, we've been on a 5 or 6 year journey with this. So this is a muscle, but the more you start realizing quicker, the quicker you turn it around. And so the quicker you can say to yourself, okay, how did I react? What can I do differently? And think it through, almost like visualization. You watch that screenplay in your mind and you watch how you reacted, and then you replay it just like it's a movie and you're redoing the ending, and you replay it. If I had responded like this would have been the outcome. And so you kind of replay it in your head, and that kind of helps you for next time really almost have a point of reference, like you've already seen the movie. Right. And so you kind of know what happens. And so it really does help you get there, but it's noticing it, and it's noticing it quicker. I mean, like Lori said, sometimes it was a day or days. And now it is sometimes minutes and seconds, which is where we need to be.
And I think for both of us, we had gotten to a place where we were not feeling feelings. So what we're not saying to stop your feelings. I think Tonya and I had trained ourselves to not feel things fully, like just blip over things and keep going a little bit. And so you do have to feel your feelings when they come up, whether that's you're angry or aggravated or whatever. So it's not that. It is more, how you get in that funk where you let that snowball into something much bigger than it needs to be because you got angry about something and then you didn't really deal with those feelings or even do, like you're saying, visualize how you could have done it differently. And then the next thing you know, it's like that negative cycle is just going on and on and on and going into other areas of your life. And then you look up and go, why do I feel so crappy? And it's okay, well, let's go back now and see. And it usually is one thing that sort of triggers all the rest of the events that come after that, and you're responding to them all the same way in that negative cycle. So it really is the recognition, I think, is the first step, is recognizing that you're in that cycle of being very reactive and spiraling a little bit. But then after that, it's reframing it, reflecting on it, thinking about how it could be done differently. All of those things just take time to learn how to do it. And it's not really comfortable work. Like, it's not fun to do that. But if you've got a goal like we did to feel better more often, those are some things that we did to get there.
Absolutely. Well, and so what prompted us to really, to do this podcast today, to tailgate on what we did last week, was really and truly, Lori and I both had a similar experience today. For me, I'm a recruiter. Those of you who don't know what my day job is, and I'm an executive recruiter. And, a lot of my work is contingent work, which means if I don't find the person and they don't get hired and they don't accept, I don't get paid. And so I had 2 jobs that I had worked really hard on for about 2 weeks. So I've got hours and hours and honestly weeks worth of work in these 2 roles. Great candidates I sent to the clients. They were interested and excited. The candidates were interested and excited. So I, in my mind, thought, okay, I'm getting at least 1 or 2 of these closed, but probably both. Like, I felt good. And today, both clients messaged me and said, hey, you did a great job sending us some good quality candidates, but both of them found a candidate on their own that they have made an offer to. And so pre-work Tonya would have thrown my shit and papers up in the air and been like, damn it, and had like a meltdown. And all I would have been able to think about was, oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills the next 2 months? Like, there went 2 months worth of bills, like all this work, like I would have spiraled, and it would have been bad for several days, if not a week. Like, I just would have been in that place. And so today, when it happened, and it happened within 30 minutes of each other, I was amazed at myself. Like, I just stopped for a second. I went, well, that stinks. And then I went, well, must be that this was not meant for my candidate, that there's something bigger and better coming for both of them, and good for whoever they hired. I hate that I'm not going to make that fee, but you know what? I trust the universe. I trust God will bring me the next opportunity with an easy feel so I can pay bills. Like, it just was that easy for me today. Now, I will say I took a deep breath and I put on some essential oils, and I did have to breathe a second, but a couple of years ago it would have been a spiral. It would have been just like Lori was talking about. And today, literally, and when I said it to myself in my mind, I thought, wow, Tonya, you've come a long way. Like, I was surprised at myself, but that's where I've gotten to for most things. Now, don't get me wrong, that didn't happen all the time, but I was proud of myself today. Like, I was proud that was my reaction, my response, and that it felt good. I didn't make the money. I have no doubt it'll come from somewhere else.
Yeah. And my situation was very similar. It's so funny how messages get sent to you and lessons get sent to you and all that. So one of the grantors, our funder for a big project that we've got going, we've had a great relationship, and just, I feel like I over communicate, like we're very transparent on what we're doing with their money and all this stuff. And they like completely blindsided us today and were like, well, we need this and we need that and we need it now. And I was really aggravated because I'm like, y'all have been talking to us for months and you haven't mentioned this. Like, where's this coming from? And I could feel myself. My neck gets red, I get splotchy and everything. And I could feel myself. And it was at the end of the day, it was like 4:00, and already had a busy day. And so all of that compounds, your reaction, right? All the other stuff that's going on in your life. And so when I was leaving work, I called Tonya, and I was just rambling and just a few F-bombs might have been shared with Tonya today, and just really reactive. And I was even smiling on the phone with you because I was like, how ironic that we just did a podcast about how we should be responding instead of reacting to events. And here I am, like completely worked up about it, letting it change my outlook on the rest of my day, this kind of thing. So I sort of made fun of myself a little bit. And, one thing that helped me, because I was just aggravated. And so on the way home, and usually I'll do this, like I'll turn music up really loud and sing really loud. But today I just yelled, like I just screamed and yelled in my car. And by the time I got home, I felt a million times better. It was like there was some kind of release it was like the aggravation was just sort of stuck. And by me doing that, I was able to just get it out. And guess what? It's not a big deal. Like, yeah, they asked for some stuff that they shouldn't have asked for at the last minute. Will we get it to them? Yeah. Will it be okay? Yeah, it's going to be fine. But years ago, I would still be ranting and raving about it. And my traffic on my way home would have been awful. And I would have probably burned dinner when I got home. And it would have been that spiral of letting that one situation, that one event just take you whole down a different road that you really don't want to go down. So those are two examples today. And both of us were able to turn it around really quickly, where it's like, I see what I'm doing and I don't like what I'm doing. So let me change that and do something different.
And it is a game changer, we promise. And we've been doing this for 6 years, 5 or 6 years now. And so we're going to be honest with you, it is a muscle. It is a practice like anything else that you have to put into play. And it did not come easy. And today's turnaround for us was 5, 6 years in the making. So we still did it. Like we still both went to the bad place, the frustrating place, the oh my God place, and then very quickly we're able to come out. So what we're saying here is, it is absolutely true. We are still studying. We are still working hard. We are still working on it. But the difference in our lives it makes when you can turn this around that quick is huge. Not only does it affect us, but it affects everybody that comes in contact with us in the next, used to be weeks. Now it's minutes or days, but honestly, being able to flip the switch and reframe it in your mind and really look at the positive. So for me, it was not thinking about me, it was thinking about the other people. Well, that means my 2 candidates are going to have a better opportunity somewhere else. It was meant to be, right? And that means that whoever did get these roles, gosh, good for them, because it must have meant to be. And so I really could put myself in a, best, and this is a phrase I love, but greater good. Like it's better for everybody involved. It was the best and greater good for all involved. And that for me is key when I'm thinking about how to be positive about things.
Yeah.
Because it's not always about me, right? It's got to be for the greater good of all involved. And that's what I want. That's how I want to live. And so being able to look at that when I'm reframing really helps me with the reframing aspect too.
Yeah. And there's 2 things that I always think about that really help. It's what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning from this? And so by catching it and understanding my role in it, and this was a test from the universe. Are you going to react with your F-bombs, Lori, or are you going to be a lady and respond very nicely? So it's what's the lesson that it's trying to teach me. And then the other thing is really believing that everything happens for a reason, and that everything's happening for everybody's highest good, and it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And so when you can start seeing events that may seem negative, may seem catastrophic, may seem against you, that's not what I choose to believe. I choose to believe that we live in a benevolent world and a benevolent universe where the universe is actually working in our favor always. And so if you can really hone in on that and believe it, it's like, okay, well, what good could come out of this situation, and what lesson could I learn? And, is this preparing me for something harder later? You know, maybe I have to get my training wheels on right now for something small, and it is preparing me for something bigger later. So it's like all those little tricks and almost like mind things that you can do to just redirect a little bit, to because nobody wants to stay feeling like that. I would have hated if my whole afternoon and evening I felt like I did when I left that call with that lady, you know?
Well, and then you've ruined your whole evening with your husband. You've ruined your dinner. You've ruined, you're mad and grumpy when you go to bed. And then who knows how you wake up tomorrow morning. Right.
If you wake up. have you used your last little time on earth being like that, you know?
That's exactly right. So I think, you know, what we really just wanted you to think about is how to reframe and how to put things in perspective. Reactions are going to happen, and when you do react, how do you flip it really quick so that reaction does not ruin the rest of your time?
So it's mainly about self-awareness, like being really aware when you are causing some of these outcomes, because we talked about you have the control, you have the power to change it. So being aware of your role in it, and then doing it differently the next time, and doing it quicker so that you feel better, faster.
Yep. All right. So listen, if this resonates, we hope that you will share this with people that you love and people you think will resonate with this as well. And until next time.